Welcome to Embracing the Bold Radio Hour, where we explore the vibrant arts, entertainment, and design scene right here at Valencia College. Join us as we chat with students, faculty, and artists about their journeys, inspirations, and professional experiences. Each episode unveils the creative pulse of our campus, offering insights into the world of artistry and education. Let's delve into the heart of creativity together right here on Embracing the Bold. We're so glad you joined us today, and I'm your host, Rebecca Lane.
Hi, folks. Welcome to Embracing the Bold. And today on Embracing the Bold Radio Hour, we are here to talk about the Spring Dance Concert. And we have three fabulous people here to talk about what you might see and all of the cool things that are happening right now in the dance program. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Chris Stevens. I am the Dance Performance Production Coordinator here at Valencia College.
My name is Dante Luis Fernandez. I am a dancer with our company, Valencia Dance Theater.
Hello, my name is Tiara Capello, and I am an assistant in the dance department.
Awesome. Welcome. And so we are here to talk about the Spring Dance Concert. So when is the Spring Dance Concert happening? And just give me dates.
The Spring Dance Concert is Friday and Saturday, March 14th and 15th at 8 p.m. here on the East Campus in the Performing Arts Center.
Fantastic. And how do I get tickets?
Well, if you are a Valencia student, you can get tickets for free with your valid Valencia ID. You just need to show up to the box office a half an hour before the show, so by 7:30 each night. And if you are anybody else, you can either get tickets online at valenciacollege.edu/arts, or you can show up at the door and buy tickets at the box office if you haven't already got them. Tickets are $15 for the general public, $10 for students that are not Valencia students, $6 for children under the age of 12. And as I said, all Valencia College students can get into this concert for free with a valid student ID.
That sounds great. So if I come to the Spring Dance Concert, what will I see? Is there a theme this year? Is there... you've got a great smile, Chris.
So our Spring Dance Concert is our Masterworks concert. This concert, every year, we partner with some of the biggest names in modern and contemporary dance to produce a concert. This concert has 3 pieces in it. The first piece is going to be Steps in the Street, choreographed by Martha Graham. It was set on our dancers in December, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a moment. The second piece in the concert is Through the Storm by John Lair, who we have worked with for almost 15 years now. He comes down every year and sets a piece on our dancers. And the last piece in the concert is called Bacchanal by Leslie Brasso Rogers, who is the artistic director of Valencia Dance. And this is a piece she has done a number of times, and she's also done excerpts of this piece. The last time that we did this full piece was back in 2001. So it'll be nice to see it back on the stage again. And it's about 5 sections long, all to Bach music. So it's absolutely beautiful.
Ooh, wow. So who will be dancing in this?
So our dancers, this concert is for our dance majors. So our fall concert, we have an opportunity for non-dance majors to perform, but for our spring and summer concerts, primarily they are for our dance majors. So our dancers auditioned to be a part of this concert in November. So they have to audition to become dance majors. And then we try to replicate the real world as much as possible. They are required to audition for the dance company and for each of the concerts. In November, they auditioned for this concert and they were cast. And then in December, we had our guest artist regisseur. Her name is Elizabeth Auclair. She's with the Martha Graham Dance Company. She came down and set the work Steps in the Street on our dancers for a one-week residency in December, the second week of December. So our dancers danced 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Wow.
With Miss Elizabeth learning this piece. And then they were rehearsing it all semester on Sundays with Leslie Brasso Rogers, our artistic director.
That's fantastic. And so did you also have a representative from John Lair's company?
Yes. John Lair brings his company down every September. They do a tour of Florida in September, and we are always very privileged to have him for a week-long residency as well. And his dancers come with him, and they help to set the works. we're getting a new to us work this year called Through the Storm. We've never performed this piece, but it's a lot of fun. It involves fabric, and it's classic John Lair. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of movement, very athletic dancing as part of it. And then also, as I said, Bacchanal, they've been rehearsing Bacchanal on Sundays along with Through the Storm and Steps in the Street.
Okay, so you started working on the John Lair piece in September, and you started working on the Martha Graham piece in December with a 1-week residency, and they started working on Bacchanal
In January.
in January. Okay, so some different pieces, and how long are the pieces?
They range in length from about 9 minutes to about 15 minutes.
Okay, so it looks like from 9 minutes to 15 minutes. So it looks like you've got 3 very different choreographers represented here in the dance concert. Are they all working in modern?
Yes, all of the pieces are modern. Obviously, Martha Graham's piece is going to be very classical modern. This piece was set originally in the 1930s. And then John Lair has a much more contemporary modern style. His is often called a fusion of jazz and modern. And then Miss Leslie's piece is a little bit more of the classical style of modern because that's her background.
Okay, great. And so what is the value in producing an entire dance concert that is focused on modern dance?
Well, our dancers get to be introduced to different styles of dance throughout the entire year. The wonderful thing about us being able to do a Graham piece this year is that the type of modern that our dance majors study is a Graham-based modern.
Oh.
So they are getting to perform a style that they work on the most during the year. The John Lair piece, John Lair has a very distinct style of movement that encourages a lot of athleticism and forces the dancers to move in a different way than they may have done in the past. So the nice thing about the spring concert, the Masterworks concert, is it not only exposes our dancers to classical pieces, but it also enables the students at the college to come see works that they may not necessarily get to see. I don't know the last time that the Martha Graham Company toured to Orlando. I don't think that they have toured to Orlando ever, or, a very, very long time. So it's an opportunity for college students to also get to see works that they would not necessarily get to see unless they went up to New York.
That's really exciting. So we have 2 dancers here. So Dante and Tiara, what is the experience of working with? What was your experience working with John Lair first?
Okay, so let me get my notes out for this really quickly. I came with a little. I know you guys can't see it, but I came with a little book prepared. So I will start by saying that working with John Lair, he has a very, I'd say, strong personality and presence, and he makes you think about movement in a different way. He is a very big believer in one movement naturally leading to the next. So there's a lot of just go. They say that you perform a John Lair piece better when you're exhausted because you're not holding back anymore. And you're really using that momentum to your strength. Through the Storm was a piece where we got to work with John Lair the first 2 days. And then we were with his company without him the second 2 days. And then the 5th day, we had everyone together to look at it for cleaning. And we had to learn an entirely new skill set with this fabric section that many of us have never done ever in our life, dancing, having to use these pieces of fabric for counterbalances and pulling each other. And there's just a lot of trusting another person to go off your center and let them catch you and let that full release of your weight.
Ooh, so it sounds like Through the Storm is full of trust falls, and I come from puppetry, so we'd call that object work, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd say it more on the line of like a very powerful lean instead of a falling type of motion. The fabric, you think of it like a giant slingshot that people run into and bounce off of, is a very good way to think, like two people holding this giant piece of fabric on the ends, holding it taut, and someone runs to it at full force and they shoot them out the other way.
That sounds so exciting. Like as you're describing it, it starts to sound like Cirque du Soleil to me.
Yeah, I can feel like it at times if you run hard enough.
It can feel like it if you close your eyes and
If you close your eyes and you lead one movement into the next, there's that definite level to it. I'd say that working with the company, John Lair has his right-hand man, who's actually a woman named Cece, and she and him work in a way that's very nice. When one of them forgets something, the other one's always quick to remember it. So they work as a very good pair, and they use a very divide and conquer mentality where, since the piece is around 10 minutes, in order to make it quicker, they'll teach sections to individual people and split and then reconvene. And it's a very efficient use of time. It never feels like you're sitting around doing nothing, which I'd say is the best part about the process working with John Lair.
oh, that's great. So, what about working with the Martha Graham Company?
So we were fortunate enough to have Elizabeth Auclair come down as the regisseur. So when we requested this piece from the company has a set number of people who are not really certified, but basically certified to teach these pieces. They've been approved by the company to teach these pieces. She is no longer performing with the company, but she is allowed to take this piece and set it on different companies, different colleges, because she had performed it for many, many years. So the company themselves, Martha Graham Company, selected her, and she came down in December to work with our dancers. And on the first day, they had sort of like an audition where they took a class from her, and then she would pick of those dancers which ones she wanted in which sections. So even though they had their audition in November and they were cast in the piece, she, as the person who is setting the piece, has the final say of who's going to be in which section, because she knows the piece the best.
Right.
So she, originally Dante was not actually supposed to be in the piece because it's traditionally a piece for all women. And so and actually we had danced this piece here at Valencia back in, did I say 2007? Yeah, 2007 we did this piece along with another Martha Graham piece called Celebration. We're not doing Celebration this year. And we had a different regisseur set it on us back in 2008. But that was also all women. That was when we were still partnering with Rollins College for our spring dance concert. So it was an all-women piece. And then when Elizabeth came down this time, apparently she had set it on another college that had also a gentleman in the dance program, and she had incorporated him into the piece. And so she thought, well, you know what? We've got a Dante. Let's use a Dante. We need another body. So so Dante's actually dancing this, which is, again, it's a traditionally an all-female piece. But Dante got thrown in there, too, along with the women.
Fantastic.
Yes, so that was a really cool thing. So he gets the experience as well as our other dance majors to learn a Martha Graham piece from somebody who danced with Martha Graham.
That's cool.
So my experience with this residency, working with Elizabeth Auclair, was very nice because before we would start our repertoire and learning our new piece, we would start every day with a Master Graham class. And she would be teaching movements that would later be incorporated into the piece. So we could kind of get a very good sense of fundamentals. But alongside it, with such an important piece, Steps in the Streets is part of a larger piece called Chronicles. And this was choreographed all the way back in 1936. This was around the rise of fascism. And it was, this specific piece is about like the horrible like feeling of war and what it does to communities. It's homelessness, exile, devastation, not in that order. It's devastation, homelessness, exile, my bad. But it's working with Miss Elizabeth. I'd say the biggest takeaway was that it wasn't just coming there to learn a dance. It was coming there to be a part of something bigger and to fulfill like something that has a lot of legacy to it. We learned a lot of historical importances and a lot of direct things on why Martha Graham taught and choreographed the way she did, which was very helpful. And I have a couple things that she said, but like Martha Graham's technique is based around like the contraction and release. But Elizabeth explained that Martha Graham believed that when we have a reaction to something, whether it be emotional or physical, you'd think that the face shows it the most, but really, like when displaying a sharp emotion, it's really the torso and the fluctuation of the torso, which can show this, the contraction being pulled in or rising high and showing pride. There's that feeling of like learning why Martha did things the way she did. And there's a lot of importance and weight on such a not old piece, but such a piece with a lasting legacy, I'd say.
Well, and so it sounds like what you took away from the Martha Graham work is that she was really focused on emotional communication.
Yes, definitely.
And focused on communicating emotion, not just with facial expressions, but through full body movement.
Yes, there's definitely like storytelling that we had throughout this.
Ooh, okay. So there's storytelling there. I do want to ask you about Leslie Brasseau's piece too. Because we'll come back to this. I'm looking for themes.
So, Bacchanal is a work made of 4 smaller works, and it made its debut in the year 1985, choreographed by our artistic director, Leslie Brasseau-Rogers. All this music is composed by Sebastian Bach, which is the...
Johann Sebastian Bach.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
What era is this of music?
Baroque.
The Baroque era of music. I'm so sorry. I had a little bit of a short circuit moment in the head, but these 4 pieces, I'll go into them in more detail. But starting off, we have the Hello, followed by the Ariosa, Into the Chase, followed by the Fugue to close it out. The Hello is really this sort of introduction to the piece. It's an invitation. It's like a party. It is inviting the audience to us. It's very happy. There's a level of playfulness within the piece. And it's really just people coming on and saying like, hey, here we are. Like, welcome to our show. Have a great time. It's the Bach Hello. So we're saying hi. Then it transitions into the Ariosa. And that is the story of 2 lovers and how relationships can be complex and how there's a lot of trust. I am partnering with Tiara, the other dancer here today, and that is something that we have been spending the majority of our time in this concert working on and workshopping, just because partnering can really take a lot of time, and not just selling that you can do the technique, but again, going into the storytelling and going into this, how do you say like so many things with no words? How do you communicate something? How do you sell to an audience that you feel these things? Followed by the Chase, which is again another very playful, happy, these are people having fun, people chasing each other playfully. I think of it like a little game of tag at certain parts.
Oh, that's fun.
They play tag, they play hide and seek when they run around and they're hiding from one another. It's very athletic. It's the longest out of them, being somewhere between 6 and 7 minutes.
Wow, this is the Chase piece?
This is the Chase.
Okay.
Which is third. Followed by the Fugue, which is a lot more serious. The faces in it are, Miss Les describes, you're going off into battle. And the motions are a lot sharper. The extensions are very defined throughout. And you're really releasing your torso on certain parts. And that's where we have a very strong finish before bows.
So the Fugue and the Bach Hello have been done as excerpts a number of times by the company. In fact, the Fugue was the very first piece that I learned when I first came to Valencia a very long time ago.
So followers of Valencia dance may have seen the Fugue in the past.
Yes, they will. They will have seen the Fugue. If let's see, I'm trying to remember what year we did it most recently, but I believe it was in. Was it
did it
2022?
We last did the Fugue, I would say about 2021, 2022.
Yes.
That era.
So it's a classic Miss Leslie piece, and it's absolutely beautiful. The ending of it is just gorgeous. Of course, the music helps a whole lot because that fugue piece is so big, and it's one of those pieces of music that just makes the hair on your arm stand up on end. But yes, Miss T.
I was going to say that actually whenever we do the fugue, every time that we're getting close to ending, Miss Les will be like, the audience, they're not applauding for you. They're applauding for the music. And that's what she says almost every time.
She's very fun. She's very fun.
Yeah, so the music is absolutely beautiful. It's called The Little Fugue, is the name of the piece by Bach. But yeah, so this piece, as Dante said, this was done a very long time ago. It was before, I believe it was before Miss Leslie actually came to Valencia, and when she was still the choreographer in residence at Southern Ballet Theater, which became Orlando Ballet.
Got it.
So this piece, I believe, was first choreographed on them. And as I said, yes,
that's cool.
Yes, and
There's
then
really a legacy there.
oh yes.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, the first summer that I danced for Valencia, this was the first piece that I learned from her for that summer repertory concert. And as I've said, we've done it a couple of times. We actually did it during COVID, one of our concerts that we had to record during COVID and had it put together. And then that was one of the ones that we live streamed, or not live streamed, but we recorded it and then we streamed it later. So we have done it a couple of times. This is the first time in a long time that we've done it in its entirety. We have brand new costumes for this. They are always done in like a burgundy palette.
Okay.
So it's always been done in a burgundy palette. And it's gone through a couple of iterations, the costumes, the style and the, what they look like kind of a thing. But yeah, so we have brand new costumes for that. And it'll be beautiful. It's a wonderful closer. The fugue especially is a wonderful closer for the show.
Well, and so what I love hearing about each of these individual pieces, it sounds like the choreographer really brings a lot to the process as well as to the experience of dancing it. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, I'd say that each of these pieces hold a lot of importance in personal stories within each of these choreographers. For Through the Storm, we don't talk about it much, but like the history of this piece, it represents what artists had to go through during the pandemic of COVID-19. The piece was debuting, I believe, in either 2022 or 2021, but the storm is really a metaphor like for COVID and what artists have had to go throughout. And when we think about things like the fabric, that's people's lives getting thrown at, like Mercy just hoping for the best and how you have to stay steadfast to get through it all.
Oh, wow. That sounds like there's a lot of depth to that. And it sounds like there's a story to Martha Graham's piece.
Yes, because it's an excerpt, as he said, from Chronicle.
Excellent. And is there a story to Leslie Brasseau's piece?
I don't think that there's an overarching story. As Dante said, each of the pieces has its own little story within it. It's more of a tribute to Bach. It's called Bacchanal, but it's not spelled like, a Dionysus Bacchanal. She takes out one of the C's to make it Bach-anal. And so it's more of a celebration of his music.
Okay. So what do you guys learn from working with different choreographers?
I'll take this one over. But you got next one, T. I'd say learning with all of these choreographers, it's really figuring out trying to just trust the process, I think has been a really big thing throughout, because we all have our own vision of how we like things done, but learning like they're in charge and you just have to trust their intuition is a very important thing,
So when you say we all have our own version of how we like things done, what do you mean?
I mean that some people like when it's just choreo, and then clean after. Some people like clean as you go along.
By some people, you mean dancers or choreographers, or
really all of it. It's just every choreographer operates differently. So there's going to be the types who really just want to get it out and then clean, like get it all out at once, then clean it all out at once. Some people like to do give a little, clean a little, give a little, clean a little. Some people like to go like no breaks, like just go. And some people give breaks frequently. There's just a lot of preference, and just learning to trust the choreographer's experience and learning to say like this, they have the experience, they've been doing this for this many years. You just have to trust it. And, you know, as a dancer, you don't have an opinion. You don't have an opinion on the costume, on the lights, on the piece, on the music. You just do it. You just do it, and you make that vision come true. It's not, but not to say that it's like this evil, like you're a miserable dancer, but as a dancer, you're part of something bigger. You're putting someone's vision to life. You're like the paint on their canvas, but the paint doesn't say, I want to be red paint instead of blue paint. So you just have to really trust the artist and help them make what they need to make on you.
That's
cool.
Exactly. It's funny that you said that, because I was literally thinking in my head that a paint tube doesn't get to choose where they go on the canvas. Dancers are the tools of the choreographer. Now, some choreographers are much more collaborative than others. It depends on the pieces that you're working on. But there are some choreographers who are not. And, you know, they've, as Dante said, they've been doing this for a very long time, and this is the way that they work. So, and it's good for our dancers to learn that, because when they go out and hopefully into the real world and get jobs, they learn that they, you know, you'll have some people, some choreographers who will spit out the choreography, and some of them won't even bother to clean it. And some of them will spit out the choreography, and then they'll spend time editing and rehearsing and cleaning. And then some, as he said, some will clean as they go. It just depends on who you're working with.
So, well, pause for those listeners who maybe are less familiar with dance. You guys have been talking about teaching and then cleaning, and so what does it mean to be taught a combination versus what does it mean to clean the combination? What's that mean?
In writing terms, to be taught it would be to be writing that first paragraph. And then to be cleaning it would be to be the editing, the proofreading, the going back and making sure you didn't miss any commas, or you have too many commas, or you use the wrong word there, or you forgot to capitalize something, or something's misspelled. So the John Whiteley, who is our amazingly, fabulously wonderful lighting designer, has compared cleaning a piece to focusing lights. So it's just that little bit of adjusting that you do to make it look like you want it to look. So for dancers, we use the word cleaning. Other people would use editing. Lighting designers would use focusing the lights. It's that kind of a refining. Good word. Yes, it's like refining the
So
piece.
teaching it is like if I said, repeat after me, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain, and you guys would remember it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, I might say, I really want you to focus on the R sound.
Exactly.
And I want everybody to hold the R sound for 3 seconds.
Yes. Or now you're going to do this in a Cockney accent. Now you're going to do this in a regular British accent. Now you're going to do this in a Spanish accent. That's exactly what it is
Got it.
the cleaning process. And again, some people are very good at the cleaning process. Some people enjoy the cleaning process. Some people absolutely hate the cleaning process. I grew up in a studio where we spent a lot of time cleaning. And so that's something that I actually am known for doing quite well, is I clean pieces. But the other thing I was going to say, going back to the choreography, is one of the blessings in our summer concert with the Masterworks is that we get to expose not only our dancers, but also the college to literal masterworks. And so, as Dante was saying, there's a whole lot of history that's involved with these pieces, especially when we do something like Graham Steps in the Street, or we've done Lamone's Choreographic Offering, or we've done Ailey's Escapades, or what have you. Art is, good art, really great art, transcends time, or it just keeps going. There's a reason why it's a classic. There's a reason why you keep bringing it up and you keep doing it. And as a dancer, there's nothing quite like dancing something that is a classical piece, in the sense that that this has been around for a really long time and you get to be a part of it. And then you also understand why it's been around for a really long time. So when I was dancing professionally, I was fortunate enough to learn Balanchine's Serenade. Again, classic piece. He said it in the late 20s on his dancers to teach them how to dance. When you dance Serenade, you feel like a dancer. You know, dancer, capital D in quotation marks, danseur, the whole thing. You know, same thing with Steps in the Street is that you are dancing a piece that came from Martha Graham's head, has lasted almost a
century,
almost 100 years, and I do believe that Elizabeth learned it herself from Martha.
Yeah, it was reset in the year 1989 by Yuriko Kukuchik. I have a hard time pronouncing.
You could just say Yuriko too. She's kind of like Cher.
Okay, yeah, then Yuriko in 1989 on the Graham 2 Company.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So they restaged it based on old videos and notes and things like that. So again, Miss Leslie loves to say that dance is a hand-me-down art form. You learn it from somebody who learned it from somebody else. And as I was telling my students the other day, you know, the dance family tree is really not like a family tree. It's like a tree that's been covered in vines and and all sorts of other stuff, because it's not like your own family tree that just has, you know, very distinct branches. There's lots of branches that interweave with each other and go off in other directions. But it's neat to be a part of something. Now you guys are, you know, less than 6 degrees of separation away from Martha Graham.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
It's very cool. And as
Yeah.
a dancer, there's nothing quite like dancing something that has been done by one of the great choreographers. You feel like you're doing it exactly right. And you feel like, yes, I am that fabulous paint tube that is the perfect color of red.
Perfect color. I would say like a very important thing to add context that you might not think of immediately during this Graham Chronicles, specifically Steps in the Street, is this was after World War One, but before World War Two. This was that at the time it was called the Great War because it was the biggest war on any scale we've ever had, followed immediately by the Great Depression. So people lost their homes in war. People lost everything they had in war, their main provider, their breadwinner, then followed by economic collapse. And these people experienced this devastation, this homelessness, this exile. And you have to think that like this was really the first time historically that things were that hopeless. But it gets followed by a piece known as A Prelude to Action, which is kind of about like, okay, like what next? Like we're going to do this and we're going to survive it. And so I think that just adding that historical context of like, this isn't about World War One. This is about the Great War at the time, you know, the Great War. And this is about that homelessness, exile, and devastation, I think is so much more powerful to like give it that weight.
Wow. So it sounds like the history and the context in which the piece was crafted makes a big difference to our understanding of the piece, and B, what it means to dance it.
Yes.
I would argue that is the same for any kind of art. You understand art a whole lot better if you understand the context in which it was created. And again, why things have lasted as long as they have is because they do represent timelessness things. That's not the first time that there has been a major war that devastated people, caused them to be homeless, and caused them to have exile. But it was the first time that it was on a global scale.
Yes.
And then, Martha was responding to that in what she created. But you could say that about any kind of art, really, and especially art that is timeless. And I mean, Shakespeare, why do we still do Shakespeare? Why is Shakespeare still around? I love Shakespeare, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. But why do we keep doing his plays? Why do we keep teaching it in schools? Because it's timeless.
It's timeless. Mm-hmm.
And, even though it's a very different world, the themes are still very much the same.
So with these themes, I had two questions. Okay, so the first question, they poofed and then they came back. So the first question is, what is it like to embody the different work of these choreographers? Because we've talked about how stylistically they're different. We've even talked about how they run a rehearsal room differently. But what does it feel like to embody these different styles of movement?
I would say that throughout the way that I personally have done it is just like after you do your research, just put yourself in the footsteps, So there's a section in Steps to the Street we call the bread line, which is about people going to soup kitchens. But a lot of these people like were wealthy before that. And so this is something where they have to swallow their pride just to get a meal and wait in this long line and try to keep their chin up while doing something that you could consider embarrassing or not something that's super prideful, but you have to do it. You have no choice. Through the storm, that feeling of helplessness, not to say that you dance and you're like, I feel helpless, but to really say, like, when you throw yourself into that fabric, you let yourself lose control of your body the same way that so many artists and dancers had to lose control of their lives just to make an income during COVID. I mean, we think about it like the pandemic's not new. It is new. It's not old. A lot of us who were dancing, our lives just stopped. And it was the what now and kind of having to trust your gut. And like a lot of people unfortunately stopped dancing during COVID because it was just one of those things where it's like, well, I can't do that, so I'm going to do something else. But really just putting yourselves into the footsteps for the Ariosa, specifically in Bacchanal, since I have the most history with that, like, what does it mean to be in love? And what does it mean to truly, like, look into someone's eyes and feel that connection? Because if you cheat it, the audience will know. And it's not just about you, and it's not just about the audience, but it's about the relationship between each other, yourselves, and the audience.
So what does it mean? What do you sequence differently? Like when you're thinking about movement sequence with different choreographers, do you sequence differently? Do you look for resonance in different places?
I would say that when we're doing that, like, you just find like the accent for it. So like Steps in the Street, like there's a lot of sharp movements where it's and step and boom, but it's like it's very like, I guess the musical term would be like staccato, but it's like and go, versus like Through the Storm, since you're releasing and it's very wavy, it's very, I guess, like smooth. Like I don't know the best word for it, if you guys can help me out, but like you're just released, you're off your center, you're finding that release and letting like your weight take you places, versus something like Bacchanal where it's like, since it has that kind of classical and happy modern thing, like you are, I guess that one is the most like traditional dance in the sense of like when you think about dancing, like that feels the most like familiar, if that's a good way to put it. Like Bacchanal, it's really just about like, if it's the chase, it's happy and you just do the tiny steps and you jump. It's more like Miss Les says, like the Bacchanal is about the music more than the dancer, and you just have to like be the music to an extent.
Ooh, that's an interesting way to think about movement.
That's essentially what dancers are, is, the embodiment of the music in somebody's ideal. I mean, obviously there's different stories behind it and there's different things, but there are classic pieces that are literally just about the dance movement. They don't really have a story to them. A lot of Balanchine's ballets were like that. They were just dance for dance's sake and how the music makes you feel like you're dancing, kind of a thing.
Well, and I liked something you said earlier, like as all of these things that we're talking about, you talked about, I think it was specifically in reference to the Martha Graham work, but some other things too. It made you feel like you're a part of something bigger.
Yeah.
So like, what does that mean?
Well, this kind of goes on to what Miss Chris was saying, but there is, like, dance is timeless, but this is kind of one of those things where this dance has gone through so many iterations and so many people have done it. Martha Graham performed in this piece herself. You know what I mean? This is a piece, and specifically our dancer Jay Ellie, I believe that she is doing the role that Martha Graham herself did, and it's this, and we rented the costumes from the Graham Company.
I'm not sure if they're the Graham Company's costumes directly. They may be. I'm not sure if they're Juilliard's or not, but we're renting them from the company.
But like, that's, again, Juilliard's a big place. Like, these are, I guess, the people who paved the way for us, and we're kind of following in their footprints. And like Miss Les says, dance is a hand-me-down sport. And so, or not, hand-me-down
art form.
art
It's a
form.
contact sport. It's a hand-me-down art form.
Dance, art, or sport. We can have that discussion another day because that discussion is a discussion to be had. But really, it's just knowing, like, especially as a younger person, like 1936 for me is a very long time ago. But the idea of like I'm doing a role from that time, and there's kind of this like level of like I'm not finding the right word, but I'm really just trying to like sell it to you. Like it's been done before with such importance, and so for you to do it, not to sound like a self-important person, but you kind of feel a little bit of that importance and weight on yourself, representing something that's has so much history to it, I guess.
Absolutely.
And you're absolutely right. And that's why we do the Masterworks in the spring. That's why the spring concert is our Masterworks concert. We make an effort to bring like I said, the big names in modern companies, people that the dancers have read about in their history books. They've read about them in their textbooks. These people, the work that we're getting to do and that we get to set, that they get to have set on them. And then to continue that, this feels like a very good segue for this, we have been invited to perform at the let's try that again. University Partners Showcase in New York City by the Martha Graham Company. So every other year, it's a biannual thing, they invite colleges and universities who have not commissioned works, these are already done works, but who are presenting Martha Graham's works. They invite them to New York while the company is in residency at the Joyce Theater, and there will be an afternoon performance, a matinee performance on Saturday, April 5th at the Joyce Theater. And it will be the University Partners Showcase. And our dancers will be performing alongside other colleges and universities who have requested and are presenting Graham works. So we did this in 2023. And the amazing thing about that one was that we did not actually have a Graham piece at the time. We had our piece from the Nicolai Company. We had Pond by Alvin Nicolai and Tito Alberto de Saz. We love him as Tito. He came down and he set that on our dancers. And there was a very funny thing where Dr. Suzanne got this random email from this woman whose name is Joyce Herring, who is with the Martha Graham Company. She's the director of Joyce from the Joyce. She's actually from the company, the Graham Company, but she is the director of Graham Resources. And somehow she accidentally emailed Dr. Suzanne thinking that we had a Graham piece. We had a Graham piece back in 2007, but we haven't had one since. At any rate, Dr. Suzanne being Dr. Suzanne, this is Dr. Suzanne Salapa, who is the chair of the dance department. She wrote back to Joyce and said, "Hi, we don't actually have a Graham piece this year, but we would love to perform with you. We have this piece called Pond by Alvin Nicolai. Would it be okay if we came up there and did this piece?" And they said yes.
That's lovely.
Oh, it's amazing. And Tito was up there because he is based out of New York, and he agreed to come help set the piece or to tech the piece at the Joyce. And there was lots of logistics involved with the scooters and all that other fun stuff. But because we were not doing a Graham piece, we were the first piece on the program. So Miss Leslie will tell you that we opened at the Joyce, which if you don't know your dance history, you need to look up the Joyce Theater because it's a very, very big deal in New York City, especially in the modern dance world. The Martha world, yes. It is all Martha's world. We just live in it. But at any rate, so the Martha Graham Company is in residency at the Joyce Theater for about a week and a half, and they will be presenting different programs while they are there. We will be up there. Our dancers will be up there April 3rd through the 6th. They will be teching on the stage on Friday. The performance will be on Saturday, as I said. But also, we are able to get them tickets to see the Friday night performance by the Martha Graham Company. So they get to go to New York and see the Martha Graham Company perform at the Joyce Theater. And this is thanks to student development, because some of the money that we received from student development this year is going towards this trip. And we had enough that we could pay for the tickets, so the dancers don't have to pay for their own tickets to go see this. And it's going to be a wonderful opportunity. Again, this is the second year we've done this. We're hoping that this can become a regular thing that we do. It'll be every other year. I don't know that we'll have a grand piece in 2 years, but who knows? Maybe we will. There's lots and lots and lots of grand pieces that they will now allow people to perform. But yes, we're very excited, and the dancers are really excited to be going, and I think it's wonderful. Dr. Suzanne is going with the dancers, and she's going to use the opportunity, as she does, to speak with other people about their programs and how our dancers can potentially transfer to their programs and all of that fun stuff. So there's going to be, I don't know the other colleges that are performing yet. We haven't gotten the rehearsal schedule.
OBS is going because they learned a grand piece.
Oh, is it OBS or is it the company? Because the company, yes, Orlando Ballet is also performing a Martha Graham company in a couple weeks. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
that
not
the
sure.
company is going because it is primarily universities and colleges. That would be kind of crazy if they were.
What I love about that is it's so important for our dancers to go be seen
Yes.
in places other than where we are, because when a training program has a name or is recognized, it makes it much more likely that those dancers will be accepted and hired by other companies.
Oh, yes, of course. And that's why we generally go
Yeah.
to the American College Dance Association conference every year. This is actually the first year we've been unable to go in the 20 years that I've been here at Valencia, simply due to financial constraints. So, as you know, the college did not receive all of the money this year that we were hoping to get, and we were not able to take that trip this year. But next year, we're planning to get back on that. But our dancers go to the American College Dance Conference every single year, except for this year, and we go all over the country. So
That's amazing.
Oh yes, they've been everywhere. And Dr. Suzanne, of course, makes a point of getting to know people in lots of different places, and
Yes.
so that we can tell our dancers, hey, if you want to come out of Florida, you want to go to school someplace else, there are these other options for you. And they get an opportunity to see dancers from other places. I remember when we went to California back in 2005, 2006. I don't remember exactly which year it was, but that was a lot of fun because California, West Coast Modern is very different than East Coast Modern. And that was kind of an eye-opening for some of our dancers who had only ever seen East Coast Modern.
Yes,
Yes.
it's very different.
It's very different. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So.
Well, and one of the things I love, so going back to you're a part of something bigger, right? I grew up in Florida, Dade City, small town. And I actually went to undergrad here over at UCF. I got my BFA in acting. And I read a lot as a kid. I was as exposed as one can be in a small town. But I didn't really fully understand like where all of the art I had been reading and digesting came from until I actually visited the Northeast. So there was a moment I was in, I got to visit New York in my 20s, and I looked around and I was like, oh, this is what they were talking about. Now, I do have another soapbox about how we really should be also amplifying art from Florida, as well as art from New York City. So
Yes.
I will take my Southeast soapbox and put it down. But what I love about the opportunity that you guys are having is Martha Graham is grounded in New York. That is the lineage.
Yes.
So it's
yes.
one thing to learn it here in Florida, but it's another thing to actually go and step into that work where in places from which it is from.
Yes. And especially the Joyce, to being able to perform on the Joyce stage. All sorts of companies have performed on the Joyce stage that are modern companies. And yeah, as you say, a lot of the classical modern was based in New York. And for a long time, that was the only place that you could even consider being a dancer, was if you were in New York, ballet and modern, and jazz and tap. Jazz a little bit in Chicago with Gus Giordano, but you think Broadway and all that other fun stuff that's in New York. So yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity. Some of our dancers have never even been out of the state, which is why we do make a point of traveling with them out of the state whenever we possibly can, so that they do have that experience of getting out of Florida and seeing that there is a big, beautiful world out there. And of course, New York is wonderful for that. And they'll be very close to the theater. So they should have some opportunities for exploring while they're up there. They're not going to be there as long as we were up there last year. Last time, I should say, in 2023, when they went up there, I was able to arrange a class for them at the Ailey studio.
Oh.
So they were able to go up and have a private class at the Ailey studio. Unfortunately, the time constraints and the money constraints this year just did not make that possible. But they are still going to be able to have a master class from a Graham teacher Saturday morning before the performance.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So that'll be very nice.
Oh, that will be huge.
Mm-hmm.
So are you guys excited about your trip?
Yes, we are.
Oh, yeah.
What are you most looking forward to?
Just everything. Just all of it. Pretty much.
Well, I am looking forward to the show and seeing Graham, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the city again and just taking a look around. It's a nice, pretty place to be, I like to think.
So what do you want to do after you graduate this program? Have
Well,
you thought about it?
I have. I initially had my eyes honed in on USF dance program down in Miami, but
USF is in Tampa, my love.
Tampa.
It's okay.
It's okay.
it's
It's
been
okay.
a little bit of a day.
It's all right. You guys are in the middle of Tech
Tampa.
Week, I should
Go
definitely say.
Bulls. I'll say go Bulls.
Yes, we are in Tampa.
to make up for any aggression that I might have given off.
That is the
And
right mascot. Well done.
any aggression that might be assumed from that. But I've just since I'm taking an extra year with Valencia Dance, I think that not closing the door on that in my mind, but I think that I'm just trying to open every door and really see where those doors go before I decide which door to walk through. Because right now it's like I always had one door in front of me and just walk, and that's like USF in Tampa, Florida. But I think that if I just network and see, like, maybe there's a better fit for me, and if not, then that's always still there for me. But just having options is always a good idea for me.
And are you planning to continue to finish your bachelor's in dance?
Yes,
Ooh.
I am.
And are you looking for BFA programs or BA programs?
BFA
Okay.
is preferable.
And the nice thing about Florida is we do have quite a few colleges that offer BFAs in dance. We are very fortunate in that not only is it University of South Florida in Tampa,
In Tampa, Florida.
but
Tampa,
there
Florida, the West Coast, go Bulls. I'd like to say that again. What? Tampa, Florida, West Coast, go Bulls.
just stop talking, Dante. There is also Florida State, of course, in Tallahassee. Florida State University has not only a bachelor's degree of BFA in dance, but they also have the MFA and the MA in dance. There is Florida Southern College. There is Palm Beach Atlantic. There's New World School of the Arts. So there's lots of options for the dancers, and there's a University of Florida as well. And again, that's part of Dr. Salapa's job, is to network with these schools and to see which one would fit best for each dancer, because each school has a very specific style that they go for, that they like, and not all dancers will fit in at every school. So she likes to try to make sure that the shoe fits as best as possible.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And it sounds wonderful that Dr. Salapa has a hand in helping you figure out where to go next.
Yes, that's a part of her job she takes very seriously, as building those connections, maintaining those connections, and trying to come up with as many opportunities for the dancers as she possibly can. She sees that that's part of her responsibilities, is to not just here at Valencia, but what happens after Valencia. Where do they go from here?
That's great. And Tiara, do you have thoughts and plans?
Honestly, I already graduated back in 2023 from Valencia with my AA. So I've just been working, and I've just been dancing and living my best life. I've thought about going on to continue to get my BFA in other schools. So that opportunity is still there. That's still sitting in my brain. It's still lingering. Really, I just want to be in a company at one point. I want to be in a professional company, and that is what I want to do. I want to travel the world.
Ooh, and are you doing auditions for that?
Not currently. I'm so
Okay.
busy that it's crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's also a very huge help in the office. She's learning all about the administration side of dance. And as she said, she's our assistant, one of our 2 dance assistants in the office. And so she is one of my right-hand people. I have 2 right-hand people, I guess. My 2 helpers. And she's very, very good at, she's working a lot on helping with the outreach that the company does. We have our own company, Valencia Dance Theater, and they perform lecture demonstrations every fall at local schools. And so Tiara is our liaison for that. She reaches out to the schools and she schedules those lecture demonstrations. She helps Miss Leslie with those. She helps with the room reservations for the college itself. We have our Valencia Summer Dance Institute coming up soon this summer, and Tiara will be a big part of helping to organize all of that as well.
That's amazing.
Yes, she makes my life so much easier. I love it.
Well, and one of the things I often notice with arts organizations is it usually takes an artist to work within that administrative structure, because it takes an administrator who understands the labor of the craft.
Yes, it's very I have had in a number of jobs that I've had, I've either had managers or bosses who did not come from an arts background, and it shows immediately, and it's very frustrating to deal with somebody who maybe has a background in hospital administration and then they take over entertainment, and that's very challenging because those are not the same things.
They're very different cultures, and the work of the craft takes very different
Yes.
conditions.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, Tiara, that is very exciting.
Thank you.
It's an
Yes.
exciting world to be in.
Yes, on one hand we want her to fly, fly, fly and dance, 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 but on the other hand we don't want her to go anywhere because she makes my life so much easier.
So I have a couple of questions that I'd love. These are the rapid fire questions. But before I move on to these rapid fire, is there anything else you guys want to say about your Martha Graham trip or about the concert that's coming up?
Please come to our concert.
Yes, please come.
It's a lot of fun, I swear.
Yes, it's going to be, it's not a very long show. It's right around an hour and 15 minutes or so. The tickets are very reasonable in price. And again, it's valenciacollege.edu/arts. And we are, I believe, are the first event that is popping up right now. It's only Friday and Saturday, the 14th and 15th. So it's, 1 weekend only. And then we also, coming up, will have, as I said, our Valencia Summer Dance Institute. That's for high schoolers, rising ninth graders through graduating seniors. And that's a 4-week program in the summertime. And then we will also have our summer repertory concert, which will be the second weekend in July. And that we perform in conjunction with our Valencia Summer Dance Institute dancers. So our college majors and our high school students will be on the same stage at the same time. It's a wonderful program. If you want more information about the dance program, you can go to valenciacollege.edu/dance, and that will take you to our webpage. And there's lots of information about our program and about our performances and also about VSDI. And lastly, if you're interested in taking a dance class while you're at Valencia, know that you do not have to be a dance major. You can just register for a dance class like you register for English or math or social studies. We have plenty of classes that are non-majors classes, and you are not required to audition to take those classes.
Those are great things to know. I love that. All right, so now our rapid fire. Fill in the blank, creativity is.
Creativity is. Okay. Anyone want to go first, or we just go for it?
Just go.
you
Go for
hit
it.
The button?
Hitting the button and go.
Creativity is scary.
I was going to say life.
I was going to say awesomeness.
Well,
Yes.
it is all of those things, but it's you have to be able to get through the scary to have the life and the
Understandable.
awesomeness.
It's totally scary. I love that. Because there's no safety net, right? Okay. Question number 2. What motivates you the most?
Well, right now for me, it's my kiddos, but
Legacy.
Ooh.
I'm not going to lie, my first thought was Red Bull.
Red Bull.
and that tells you everything you need to know about Tiara in one word.
I love Red Bull.
We have a couple of caffeine addicts in this program.
Very literal answer to the question.
We'll dance for Red Bull.
Yes.
In 1 to 3 sentences, describe your favorite project. Creative project.
I'm going to go first on this one. My so far, my favorite creative well, I'm going to say I have two. The first one that I think of when I think of my favorite creative project was the first concert that I had to put together during COVID that we then streamed. I had to work with Howard Tate, the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Howard Tate, with digital media and with the, I'm sorry, not digital media. Yeah, no, yes, digital media. I believe he was in digital media.
He was in digital
Yes.
media.
With him and some of his students, and also with our dancers. And I was doing this all from my house because I was remote the entire time, and getting the videos and editing the videos and putting together that whole thing, and then getting to put it on the web and send it out. And my dad in California was able to watch the video. Is still one of the things I am the most proud of creatively, just being able to put that all together. And then the second thing was when I got to dance Serenade, because that was just amazing. And as I said, you just really feel like a dancer when you dance that choreography. It's just beautiful.
That's so cool.
I would say my favorite creative production I've done was actually very recently. Last Friday, we had a showcase and we represented Valencia Dance at the University High School Student Choreography Festival. 3 of our pieces were choreographed by myself, Dante Luis Fernandez, Ariadna Perla Ray, and Jasmine Thomas. And we had a really good show. And I think it was fun because it was one of our first opportunities to, I guess, do things without our instructors, kind of have to be the adults in the room for ourselves and test our own ability to run a rehearsal and test our own ability to bring like costumes over, trust our own, and then get them all back and kind of just like be our own Miss Chris, and kind of have to figure out how to save our own day. But I think that was a really good endeavor that we had.
They did
That's
a very,
exciting.
very good job. I was very proud of them. They represented Valencia incredibly well. A number of this was the first year of this festival, and the University High School requested people to submit their choreography, and a number of people did. Not everybody got in. So I believe there were 9 pieces that were not University High School pieces. We had 3 of those pieces. There was a dance studio, which I'm actually a part of. Not Just Dance had a piece there, and then Howard Middle School had 2 or 3 pieces.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember how
I'm
if
not
it was
sure.
2
I'm
or
not
3
sure.
pieces, but it was a nice representation of everything from middle school through college. And they also handed out awards. Dante's being very modest. He actually won a choreographic award for the collegiate level. So all of the pieces were adjudicated, and those are the ones that were picked to be in this concert. And so it was a really neat experience. And as he said, I didn't even know about it until the week of the show. This is how I
was a
had
little underground.
no
A
idea
little
what was going on. Yeah, so it was wonderful. They handled all of it. They submitted all their work. They submitted all of their cue information on time. They dealt with all the stuff that I normally deal with, and they did it all by themselves. And again, I was so very, very proud of how they represented Valencia. It was amazing.
We had to be our own Miss Chris. Be the Miss Chris you want to see in the world.
There you go. See, life would be easier if everybody had a Chris.
Truth.
It is.
Very true. And Tiara.
I have 2. So I have more like a working side project that I take part in, and then more like a dancing side. When it comes to dance, I would say my favorite that I've been a part of would definitely have to say our last New York trip. That trip was so much fun. I miss being able to dance on the Joyce stage. I'm so excited to do that again. I'm happy to have the honor of being able to do it again. It was just a really great time, and especially just being able to pond on scooters, because we didn't stand up really at all during the piece. We were just on scooters the whole time. So we were just rolling around the stage and, being the little pond creatures that we were. And then for the working side, I would say more recently, I've really enjoyed taking part with the students and working with them when it comes to their choreography projects. So when it comes to, last week we had a spectacle performance, and it was with the Comp 2 class. And I was just able to help with the room reservation and contacting OIT and being able to just be more on the background.
The Chris.
Yeah, being the Chris in
producing
the situation.
side.
It was really fun, and it was nice to be able to work and organize it with them.
Yeah, there is something very satisfying about being the behind the scenes
Yeah.
person. It doesn't get
definitely agree.
nearly enough credit.
The man in the chair.
Absolutely.
It does.
not.
I mean, really, I don't think it gets enough credit. That in and of itself, it can be a very satisfying part of the project.
That's awesome. So we're out of time. But I have one more question that I think we can answer quickly. What's one thing you're really grateful for right now?
Each other. I'm grateful for everyone around me.
I agree.
I was going to say specifically my family, but yes, I'm very thankful thankful as well for Valencia.
We're the second family.
We are the second family. I'm very thankful for Valencia, and I'm very thankful for our administration that continues to support the arts and to support our program. And I know that not everybody has that luxury, and we are very fortunate that we have the administration that we do. We're very fortunate that we have our fearless leader in Dr. Suzanne Salapa, and also Leslie Brasso-Rogers, who's been at this college for over 40 years.
Wow.
You want to talk about a legacy. And so, yeah, I'm very fortunate that we have what we have, because we are aware that there's, not everybody has this opportunity. And so we're very thankful that we have it.
Yeah, the dance program here is really incredible. I'm always impressed.
Oh, thank you. It's very special. It's very small, but you get a lot of personalized attention. So
You do. All right. Well, we are going to wrap this up just one more time. Please come out and see the spring dance concert. When's it's happening?
March 14th and 15th at 8 p.m.
March 14th and 15th at 8 p.m.
Yes.
All right. Well, we hope to see you there, and we hope to see you next time on Embracing the Bold Radio Hour.